Hi all. Today we will be seeing how an FIR filter is designed. So coming to the when you design an FIR filter, uh, the basic thing that you have to see is we have already designed a first order filter, say first order low pass filter like this, uh, which is from 0 to pi, magnitude was 2. The h set that you use for h set equal to 1 plus z inverse. This is first order digital filter. Now suppose you want a better response, say something like this, say 0 to pi by 2 and up to pi. Suppose you want to have a response like this, steady response like this, you may need to have an FIR filter of very high order. Now to have a very high order filter, what you usually do is, suppose that your omega c is say pi by 3, till 0 to pi by 3 you want to stop all the frequencies till 0 to pi by 3. So in that case it is a low pass filter with cutoff frequency omega c equal to pi by 3. So in that case the response should be something like this: from 0 to pi by 3 you should be able to pass the whole signal the magnitude 1, but actual frequency is still pi, which corresponds to the sampling frequency fs. Okay, now no, it's from 0 to pi, so your sampling frequency, this will be fs by 2, from minus fs to plus fs in the positive and negative frequency range. Now if you want to design this kind of low pass filter, what you usually do is you will find ht omega you want this ht omega, which is the desired response. Let's call this desired response ht e raised to j omega. The response is basically 1 for 0 less than pi by 3, 0 less than equal to pi by 3, and 0 for pi by 3 less than say omega less than pi. This is the desired frequency response for your low pass filter. Okay, so in this case what you normally do is your desired response for your system is known. You know that it is of magnitude 1 from 0 to pi by 3. So how will you find corresponding, say, HDN, desired impulse response? Let's call it as, instead of HN, let us call it as HDN, which is the desired impulse response. So for that you need to take inverse transform. So let us take the inverse transform, 1 by 2 pi integral minus pi to pi or 0 to 2 pi HD e raised to j omega d omega. So to find this, you have e raised to j omega, right? So ht e raised to j omega is basically 1, so you substitute it here. So the limit is from 0 to pi by 3. So this can be, so here basically your response will be in the negative region also, minus pi by 3 to pi by 3. Okay, so we can take this from minus pi by 2 pi by 3. So this is 1 by 2 pi integral minus pi by 3 to pi by 3 into 1 into e raised to j omega and d omega. So what is basically this? This is the inverse Fourier transform of a rectangular pulse, where you know that in one domain, if it is a pulse signal or rectangular pulse signal like this, in the other domain it will be a sinc function. You know that sinc function is something like this, sinc x, and it in the discrete domain it becomes sinc n. So it will have values the negative frequency, sorry, negative time as well as positive time. Basically you get this signal. It's basically the discrete version of this. Okay, you get the discrete version of the signal. Now this kind of signal is causal. Is it causal or non-causal? It is a causal system, because causal signal, because if you consider this as a signal x of n, this have some values in the negative region also. So this is basically a causal signal. And suppose you take say m values from this, suppose you take m values, m samples, basically m samples, then you get something like this, which have an envelope of that of a sinc function. Okay, this is you know that this is a causal signal, because you have value from 0 to whatever the value you have taken. So this is m value, this will be m by 2 value, and in this case the signal is not linear phase, because you know that if a signal is to be linear phased FIR filter, this value, say x0 and x m by 2, these should be equal, and x1 and xm by 2 minus 1 should be equal, like that. So what we normally do is we will shift this signal. This is at 0, this is at m by 2. Let us assume that this is m by 2. If this is m by 2, you will have m plus 1, including 0, you will have m plus 1 value. In that case, let us shift this signal right by a factor of m by 2. In that case, your 0 will now come to this point, or this will shift to right, such that your signal is like this. Now if you observe, you can see that this value, whatever you have, is same here, second value is same as here, third value is same as 1 here. So if you shift it to right, say a factor of this is of m, you shift it by m by 2 to right, then your signal become linear phase also. So now your system is linear phase. Your system is causal also, because once you shift, it is in the 0 to m by 2 region, 0 to and now you have a causal linear phase signal. Now what do you want to do? You want to find your Hn in this region. So basically you have the sinc function which extends from -1 to infinity. So you are putting a window here. So whatever the inverse transform that you have found here, Hdn, which is the inverse response, you multiply it with, or Hdn, you first shift by a factor of, say, m by 2. If you are shifting by a factor of m by 2, it becomes Hdn minus m by 2. You see how much you want to shift. Sometimes depending on the signal, whether it is odd and even, this may change a little bit. sometimes maybe m minus 1 by 2. So whatever it is, you shift it, then you multiply it with a window, you call it a window Wn. So this, what is this Wn? Wn is a small window. This can be of a rectangular shape like this, or it can be some other shape like this, or some other shape like this, depending on what kind of response you want in the frequency domain. It can be something like this, it can be something like this, or something else also. This can be sometime a cosine waveform with a DC term, which we call raised cosine function. So depending on the criteria that you want in the frequency domain, this could be any of these windows. So suppose that it is a rectangular window, then WDN is basically, this is a window having value 1 in this region. If it is a raised cosine function or Hamming window or Hanning window, there are different types of windows, Bartlett windows, like that. So depending on what kind of window you are using, these samples would be multiplied with this HDN, and you get a new HDN, or the multiplication you get a HN, such that HN has a response, frequency response. This is ideal. H e raised to omega, the frequency response of your filter, of your required filter, this is the ideal one. But whatever the value of order of n of the filter is, this will have some changing in this value. So these changes are designed by the windows that you use. Some of the windows may cause ripples here, ripples here. Because of the windowing, some ripples happens in the stop and pass band. So depending on that, you get your filter. So this flatness also depends on the order of the filter as well as the window that you use, and many such things. The value of m that you take, that is the window size. So if you take a smaller window and you multiply it in the time domain, what basically happen is that your resolution in time increases, but resolution and frequency decreases. So that way you design HN, and if you implement if you get the HN values, it will be some values, right? Say 1, 5, 6, 4, 3, 2, and you implement it in the with a delay, multiplier, etc. You get a response, that is the desired response you have designed. So this is how an FIR filter is designed, and we shall do some problems from this. You'll get more ideas from this. Okay. So I think with that we can end today's class. Thank you.